I'm Dr. Les Linet, and I hope to help you understand psychiatric problems. A successful campaign of alienation proceeds with erasing the positive loving history between the targeted parent and the now alienated child, who then no longer wishes to have anything to do with the now formerly loved parent. A successful alienation also hinges on the cooperation of allies, perhaps including others besides the child. These innocent bystanders can become surrogate alienators. Alienating parents can manipulate a therapist, a teacher, friends, family members. They can unwittingly become surrogate brainwashers. Judges are often taken in by such a campaign. Some argue that brainwashing a child is far-fetched. However, the FBI recognizes Stockholm Syndrome. It does involve brainwashing. Finally, a brief clip of the actor Alec Baldwin, who was involved in a case of apparent parental alienation syndrome in his divorce from Academy Award-winning actress Kim Basinger and subsequent custody battle for their daughter, Ireland. In the clip, he gives advice to targeted parents. He also points out that both men and women are sometimes targeted. Despite the opposition of some women's groups, many women do recognize that parental alienation syndrome is a real issue.
Collaborative divorce. They can have a divorce in which everybody has some dignity and they can resolve these issues without lawyers and judges and court-ordered therapists and everything intruding in their lives. So much of what I went through the last 8 years, it was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. And it costs a fortune. And more the psychic toll. I mean, I aged like 20 years in the last 8 years. Really, it killed me. I was really tired.
I know. The book, it comes through in your book.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
That you went through.
But that's behind, but in other words, all of that is behind me now, to the extent that I
Mm-hmm.
think that people do get tired. I mean, I can't think of anybody I have less respect for than some of the lawyers involved with my case and some of the judges.
Something that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this country have experienced, and that's the pain of separation from their child. That's the inability to parent the way they want to parent.
And you call that parental alienation syndrome.
In an extreme form, it's parental alienation. Now, I'm not going to debate whether it's a syndrome or whether it's not a syndrome, but certainly parental alienation exists, and anybody who works in this area and parents all around the country have actually experienced that.
Mike, isn't it sort of natural sometimes when people get divorced for one parent to be somewhat alienated from the kid?
You know, there's some estimates that say that in up to 80% of the cases, there's some level of alienation. But what we see is that there's a wide range. So it can be from very mild to very, very severe.
In Alec's case, it was severe, in your opinion.
In my opinion, it was severe. I mean, he was frustrated at every turn with respect to just being enjoying a natural relationship with his daughter and being her father.
What made it so severe, do you think? And whose fault was that?
Well, I think there's a combination of factors there. I think that the court system today enables a parent who's inclined to be an alienator. The court will allow that to happen. I think that's unfortunate. That all the vehicles to fight are already built into the system if there's a predisposition to that. So I think
that's an important distinction, and that is, forget about the litigants, because which is hard to do. You know, litigants come and people come to the dissolution of a marriage with a lot of bitter feelings. These are two people that should not be principal witnesses against each other in a trial. They are biased, prejudiced people, and the courts know that, and the courts treat in family law and in divorce custody law, this is a civil proceeding that metes out criminal punishment. You were denied your rights as a parent based on the testimony of very, very biased people, not just the other, your ex-spouse, but some of her collateral witnesses as well. Custody evaluations are very, very biased. But the thing is, the courts know this. The courts, and they do nothing to stop it because it's a racket whereby people are lining their pockets with a lot of money.
Well, we discussed that before about how it's just a big racket. Do you agree with that, Mark?
Oh, I do. And one of the things, too, with parental alienation is it's not always the father who is alienated from the child. I'm working on a book currently with a woman who went through this very same thing where her son, the alienation was so extreme that the father had remarried, and the stepmother told the child, because this couple was very young whenever they divorced, the new stepmother told the child I am your real mother. This other woman, she's just this crazy lady who wants to pretend like she's your mother. So let's just go along with it from time to time, but I'm really your mother. That's the depth of the degree of alienation that she experienced. So it's not just something that is perpetuated against men, but it's also, women experience this as well. It's when you have one parent or the other that has an alienating nature, all bets are off on what's going to take place.
Is it
can
mostly
go either
women?
way.
Is it mostly women who are the alienators?
I think it's more importantly, not in some gender-specific way, women are more likely to have the power to alienate. Women are more likely to be given primary custody of a child because of the way that the processes have evolved over the years. So a woman is more likely to have primary custody and therefore alienate the father from them. But the point is that the courts and the judges, forget about the lawyers. The lawyers are going to do anything they can to keep conflict resolution out of the courtroom. The judges should know that what's going on and how this stuff can be circumvented. There are recommendations that judges and some family therapists who work outside the system. Some of the people that I spoke to for this book, and I'd love you to comment about this, some of the people I spoke to outside this book who were family therapists who did not rely on the state-sponsored family law system to make a living. They weren't a part of the conspiracy.
Yes.
They work in family law outside of that. They don't take referrals from judges and so forth. They have their own very healthy practices. These people spoke scathingly about the system themselves.